This is what Sandy and I know. I am the immediate past president of Biltmore Toastmasters. Sandy is the current president. She's been in that role for approximately 4 months. The problem is that Sandy has attended approximately 1 out of every 4 meetings. And the executive officers have come to me as a past president and said, Mike, we have an issue here. Would you mind speaking to Sandy about it? So I contacted Sandy and said I'd like to speak to her about it. And she agreed to meet. This is a one-on-one discussion. You're not in the room. And with that, I have done my research as a coach should and have identified that the area of concern is motivation. I'm not concerned with Sandy's poor training to be the president of Toastmasters or inadequate equipment or insufficient time. I'm focusing my coaching on one area, and that is the potential that Sandy has, a lack of motivation. So with that, it's time to enact the role play. Sandy, thank you so much for taking the time to join me. I know you're extremely busy.
I'm sure.
Thank you.
Glad to be here.
And I want to again thank you for taking the role of president of Biltmore Toastmasters. I know at the time that you took the role, you were extremely busy, but you are so good at what you do.
Oh, thanks. I just feel like I haven't been able to be there very often.
Well, here's the situation. We are grateful that you are our president. When you are in our meetings, we feel lifted by your presence. And guests get the sense that you're a wonderful leader and you have the right face to promote our club.
What a nice thing to say. Thanks.
And all our members feel the same way. So we love to have you here. So what I want to say to you is, this is more of a compliment than anything. We miss you when you're not here.
Thanks. I miss being there.
Well, I want to describe to you what happens when we start a meeting and you're not here. The Sergeant-at-Arms starts the meeting, and at that time, the clock strikes 12. We don't know if you're going to be here because we haven't been notified.
Oh, yeah, I know. Sorry.
It's an awkward moment where we have to scramble. The Sergeant-at-Arms has to identify whether you're on your way or whether someone else should be appointed as a presiding officer. So it's a little bit uncomfortable at that time. Secondly, the person that steps up as presiding officer now has a task to perform and is focused on that task and not so much on doing it well, but just on performing it because it's not what they normally do. So for example, they may open the meeting and not do a very good job of welcoming guests. Not the same way that you do, naturally, with composure. They may also then close the meeting out and they may thank the guests for attending, but they fail to ask them if they'd like to join. Also, there are certain things that the president chooses to discuss in a weekly meeting. It may be an agenda item from an officers' meeting, such as we'd like to take a vote to see if people want to vote for having bottled water in the summer. Or there's an upcoming TLI conference, or a local high school has asked one of our members to come and talk to them about what Toastmasters is all about. And someone standing in for you obviously isn't in a position to know that those things need to be discussed so they don't get taken care of.
Yeah, well, they've been to the executive meetings that I try to hold every month. But you're right, they're not foremost on their mind, but they should introduce them.
Yeah, that's a good point. They have been aware of some of these things, but they often don't know a lot of the things that are on the agenda. But I'd like to ask you, what do you think the impact is on the members and the meeting when you're not present?
It's probably less than ideal, I admit. It must have something to do with the summer equinox. I don't know.
What do you think we can do to see more of you, which is really what we want to do?
Well, I need to put it in my Outlook calendar as a recurring meeting that has priority and not let things schedule into it.
If you do that, do you think we'll be successful in seeing more of you?
I think so, yeah. I appreciate your candor in sharing with me the feelings of the group. Now that I know that it's especially important to those officers and that they've asked you to talk to me, I will definitely make a stronger effort to be here.
Okay, thank you. Let me close up. So essentially, we've agreed that if you put this entry in your Outlook calendar, we should hopefully see a lot more of you. And could you also notify us in advance if you're not going to be able to attend a meeting? That would be really helpful to all of us.
You got it, Mike.
Okay.
Thanks for your
Thank you,
conference.
Sam. Stay here. Stay
Oh,
here.
okay.
I'm now going to turn it over to a group discussion to get feedback on how the role play went, how you feel that it was performed, whether we accomplished the goal of motivating the person to perform a task and make them feel good about doing that. And I'm going to start by asking Sandy.
Yeah, I feel more motivated to be here. I will definitely make an effort, Mike. I think you did a good job of, first of all, setting the scene so that I didn't feel like it was a barrage of criticism. You complimented me at the beginning to make me feel better about why you were talking with me in the first place. Good job.
Thank you. Anybody else? Any other comments or observations on how you think it went, how it could have gone differently or better, or what was wrong with it, or whatever? Patrick?
Yeah, I just like the way you didn't immediately say, why aren't you showing up? You went through the whole, here's what happens when you don't show up. That seemed to really get more buy-in than just, why aren't you showing up? You know, even after you did the positive, how much we appreciate you.
Okay. Steve?
Yeah, just to add to what Patrick said, I think the fact that when you started out, you emphasized how important and how much Sandy adds to the meeting, how important her presence is to the meeting to start out, and just, you know, rather than just say, hey, why weren't you here? I think the fact that you emphasized her positive points to the meeting and then built on that is a good way to do it, a good way to approach it.
Thanks, Steve. Okay, well, I hope that we've been able to identify and demonstrate how coaching can be done in a positive way. And I think you can also see how easily it is for it to end up in a negative outcome if it is a barrage of criticism. Mr. Toastmaster, thank you, Sandy.